Hi there, it's Life Prepper here. And the basic questions is we're all asking the same thing. What will happen if W3 happens? Many things could happen. We've had issues with certain things for years, and we tend to stick our nose in things sometimes. It's better left alone. But our thing is once we stick our nose in something other, we go over there and rebuild everything. We turn around and replace things. We give them homes. We do all this stuff to repair the damage that we create. But the other countries, it don't mean they're going to do the very same thing that we do. The thing is, it's very possible our shores is going to be invaded one of these days. It's very possible it's going to happen. And are these other countries going to come over who are fighting against it and repair the damage they've created? No, they're not going to. They have no intentions of doing that. But what will happen in W3? Okay, first thing is sickness, the outbreaks. It's going to happen. Around the world, there is labs. They have all these viruses and stuff. They study them. They figure them out, the dangers of them. And they have the vaccines for these, we hope. That's what I'm saying, we hope. But the thing is, the vaccines they have for these here is in limited quantity. It means that they will select the ones who gets these vaccines. So overall, only the percentage will. The elite, the governments, the militaries will get these necessary vaccines to protect them. So the other people are just basically out of luck until the vaccines gets around these people. Except for those that carries the genetic marker that creates immunity to these here. If in a situation, a serious outbreak does happen, they predict every outbreak that has happened over the centuries, a third of the population was affected. A third. So, in many cases, though, how many would be affected on some of these really extremely dangerous viruses? As we get into more of the jungles, more of the woods, we get into areas where things have been dormant for centuries, and we have opened them up and exposed these viruses and these germs and these diseases that has been buried there for centuries. We are exposing ourselves to them more, as well as animals and things in that area. So it's like a plant. You come across a plant in the middle of nowhere that is rare, it's unknown, it's a new species. But what if this plant releases a type of spore in it to protect themselves? They release this spore to protect themselves from prey. So we're affected by this spore because we have absorbed it now, because this plant is protecting itself from predators. So that's what we're looking at. In a W3 event, what's going to happen is we're going to create outbreaks. We're going to create mutations. In the past, they studied the mutations that was created from exploding the atomic bomb, the other bomb. They just studied what happened on these islands and stuff in the mutations of them. The radiation exposure and stuff. They've studied all of this. So they know what is going to happen, what can very well happen from things being exposed. So there's a danger in it. Mutations will develop from the war situation. We are far more advanced than we was back in the 40s. In the 40s, they did develop a lot of this stuff, and they did attack Japan, and they killed at least 80,000 people. Now, it's not an easy thing to think about. The U.S. owes China countless money. The U.S. has moved a lot of their factories over to China. It used to be you would see things that said Japan. Everybody was worried about Japan coming in here, taking the United States over. They're going to destroy them. They're going to control them. And everything was coming from Japan. We was moving factories over to Japan and things in that area. But then when China opened their borders up more, next thing you know, we're moving our factories over to China and taking jobs away from people here. Mexico is another country. You'll see things that's made. It's when labels say "Made in USA" does not mean the parts came from USA. It was assembled in USA, but everything else is made in China or Japan or Taiwan or Mexico or Germany or whatever other country. The parts are coming in from other areas. This is what will happen. If a W3 happens, many of the parts that come from China will cease to come. We have Americans over in China that works at the plants and runs the plants. They are going to have to leave and come back here. So all the businesses over there is going to be taken over by the country that's there. So all Americans will have to flee whatever country it is and leave everything behind. So then there's going to be no more exports from that country over to here. Now it's going to affect both countries. China, who ships, depends on the factories and everything being over there, will not allow any country own land or property. But we allow people from other countries to own land and property, and they come in and buy the businesses up, and they own the property. So it's going to affect both sides. All the land and the property and all the other stuff that China owns, they're going to have to send all their people back to them. So it's going to affect all their businesses as well. Then the United States is going to have to go get all the Americans and stuff and the other people back over here. So that's going to affect businesses right there. So now you got two countries here who are really dependent on each other for income, for exports, for imports, for all this other stuff, for the money situation. And now that's going to come to a close because now situation happened, another wars come out. So that's the downfall on many of this stuff. What are we going to do in it? When it will happen? Hitler in World War I and World War II thought of himself as a god. He was dabbling into the cults, the supernaturals. I want to tell you what, the supernaturals is something you don't play with. You don't play with ancient beliefs. You just don't play with that stuff. They are pathways and gateways to unknown evil. Behind every legend is the truth of what really happened. It's been exploded, it's been changed, it's developed over the years. But these artifacts, whether they're for the good or for the bad, there's a reason behind all that stuff. There is fact behind these legends. So you got people playing with these things, and that's what Hitler was doing. He kept playing with all this stuff. And still today, they haven't found everything. There's still many things that's lost, many things hidden. And there's a good chance there's still many of them that follows the path of what Hitler had set up. It's just a little bit more in the low key. It's kept a little bit quieter on many things. But the fact is, in this situation, and when and if W3 happens, it's depending on where you're going to be located at. Where are you going to be living at? Are you going to be living close to the military bases? Are you going to be living close to the CDC? Are you going to be immune? Is mutants going to develop? How are you going to react to that? Are you going to be able to stand on your own 2 feet? Are you going to go to the FEMA camps? Are you going to be among those that's going to be arrested and herded into the camps? America herded the Japanese into the camps because of what happened. They was playing it safe. Was it necessary right? Was it wrong decision? I mean, it's a hard choice on it to say. They was herded in, they was isolated, they was put there for a reason. It happened the same way over in England. Anybody that was from Germany got herded in and put into camps and stuff if they was a threat in any way. It's a hard situation to think about. So we are facing choices. We are facing problems. There is going to be outbreaks. There is going to be mutations from these things. There is going to be danger. There's going to be many people that's going to end up dying from this stuff. There is going to be people that's going to be hurted and locked up in places, in camps and things to minimize the dangers, as they would put it. So it's not going to be easy. You got Chinatown. Think about it. War goes with China. You got all these people in Chinatown. It's been living there generation after generation. And then you got people that's new to the country. Are they going to herd all of them up? Are they going to deport them and make them go back if they don't have U.S. citizenship? And it's the same way with China. There is many U.S. people, many Americans that lives over in China for businesses or personal reasons or whatever the deal is. There's many of them that lives over there as well. So are they going to round all of them up and throw them in camps? It's not going to be a good situation no matter what. Technology has fixed it where we got robots and stuff that does the exploding, but bottom line, the government will go underground. They will push the buttons from the underground. They will do the commands. You got the commanders in chief. You got the defense. You've got the presidents. You got all this other stuff. They will have to go underground. Then you got the military, and they will have to go underground as well. It's a hard choice. It's a hard decision. You just do not know what is going to happen. Be prepared for the mutants. Be prepared for the outbreaks. Prepare for the dangers and the locations where you're living at. If you're living along the coastlines, be prepared for that. If you're living in the southern areas, prepare for that. If you're living close to the military bases, be prepared for that. If you're living close to the capitals, be prepared for that. Be prepared for, if you're living close to CDCs, be prepared for that. Because if and when W3 happens, we are looking at a lot of problems, a lot of recovery times, and we may never totally recover. We may in time, but what will take control? All the exposure to these things will create mutants. The radiation will kill thousands. The diseases will kill thousands. Will we step back in time? What will happen? Who wins out of this? Who loses out of this? It's a big question. A lot of prepper here wants you to be safe, be happy. Bless you all.